Leonardo Dicaprio was born November 11, 1974, in Los Angeles, California, to Ermeline and George Dicaprio. And from the very beginning, his parents knew Leonardo would be special.
Yes, the legend is in fact true. Leonardo was a very determined boy. In fact, he was so determined that while George and Ermeline were visiting the Uffizi Gallery in Florence and gazing upon one of these fabulous Leonardo da Vinci masterpieces, Ermeline was pregnant and she felt some kicks from the unborn boy. They decided, would it be a boy, they would name him Leonardo. And I like to say, yes, a masterpiece was born.
Leonardo's mother, Ermeline, was a German immigrant who had escaped the horrors of World War II. His father, George, was an artist of Italian heritage, and the couple separated shortly after Leo was born.
George and Ermeline came to Los Angeles thinking that they would be able to make a better life financially for themselves. However, it wasn't all roses and all quick money. In fact, financial pressures got to them, and they decided to separate when Leonardo was just about a year old.
Although Leonardo was now in the care of his mother, his father, George, remained involved in his son's upbringing.
The breakup of George and Ermeline was so amicable, and they had two separate households, but both were very loving and nurturing, and Leonardo shared in each of those households, so he wasn't affected detrimentally. Leo was exposed to all these great things early in life, artistic, musical. He just expanded his mind. It was a really nice upbringing.
Leonardo thrived in an intellectual and creative environment and was encouraged to participate in family discussions about art, music, literature, and politics.
George, especially being a distributor of underground and adult comic books, he often entertained some of these people who wrote the comic books, like Robert Crumb, Harvey Pekar, and even the author Hubert Selby Jr. George was always going to street fairs and performance festivals as part of the underground so-called bohemian scene. And he had taken Leonardo to one of these festivals and put Leonardo up on stage, and he began dancing, and his blonde hair was flying, and he got a big hand from the audience, and Leonardo absolutely loved it.
In 1979, the Dicaprios, sensing their son was a natural performer, arranged for Leonardo to be one of the playmates on his favorite TV show, Romper Room. Leo attracted attention from the start, at times, too much attention.
Leo didn't just sit there. He didn't just react to things. He ran around. He was just a maniac on this. Almost ended his career right there. Right from the beginning, Leo demanded to be noticed.
5-year-old Leo was exiled from the set of Romper Room. In response, his parents decided that their rambunctious son needed a more disciplined and structured environment and enrolled him in University Elementary School in Los Angeles. But while Leo was focusing on his schoolwork, his mother Ermeline was facing tough times. Living on a limited income, she was forced to move into an apartment in an economically depressed area of Hollywood, known to locals as Syringe Alley.
It really introduced him, apparently, to a lot of things in life that most people do not see at that tender age. There was drug use, there was sexual activity in the neighborhood, and it was, you could say, a very good education for a young future actor in seeing human behavior all around him.
George and Ermeline, because of their openness, their unconditional love, it wasn't always like a father-son thing or a mother-son thing. It was the family, and there was a friendship. And I think when you have a friendship with your mom and dad, you know, you're able to share things that you don't normally share with your parents.
One of the things Leo got to share with his mother Ermeline was the love she had for her native Germany. Pooling her limited resources, she would bring her young son with her as often as she could to spend time with her family overseas.
As I recall it, Leo would go with his mom often to Europe. They would go visit during the summer times to Germany to visit his grandparents. So they would travel and visit many different museums. He would come back with great stories and obviously became extremely fluent in German.
By the time Leonardo was 8, his combination of worldly knowledge and uninhibited behavior often made him an outsider among those his own age. Accustomed to being in the company of adults, he he began spending time alone, practicing basketball, collecting baseball cards, and caring for a variety of pets.
Leonardo really had an affinity towards animals, and he had a series of frogs when he was growing up. Of course, he had a cat, but the big animal love of his life was his Rottweiler named Rocky.
By the time he was 10 years old, Leo began looking for ways to earn extra money. Eventually, he found one: acting.
Leonardo was always dressing up and acting out various characters, but he didn't really think seriously about acting until his stepbrother, Adam, landed this commercial for Golden Grams, and Adam got $50,000. Leonardo was about 12, and he just couldn't believe it. Wow, I want to try that. So his initial impetus was money.
Impressed by Leonardo's newfound interest in acting, Ermelyn helped him land his first agent, Bonnie Leedke of the Harry Gold Talent Agency.
I met Leo when he was, I think he was about 13. I met him in the office with his mom. He had an incredible personality, charming, a lot of fun, prankster. He just was a lot of fun to have around. He had a lot of talent.
That charm and good looks did not necessarily guarantee landing a role. Nevertheless, he was encouraged by his parents' unwavering support, and he auditioned relentlessly.
His parents were really extremely supportive of everything. I mean, they schlepped him to audition after audition, drove him to and from, you name it, and stuck by him throughout the entire process.
While auditioning and waiting for his first big break, Leo began attending high school at the Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies. It was the ideal environment for someone with Leonardo's creative background.
LACES, the students come from all parts of the city of Los Angeles. They're bused here. It's a magnet school. And they come from all different socioeconomic levels, and kids look at each other for who they are and not what they have. Well, Leonardo was exceptional in my class. He was innovative. One thing that I remember very clearly about his work is that it was very creative. But he didn't just do the part, he became the part. He has this gift, you know, a true talent.
But although Leo was feeling at home on the stage, on the playground it was quite a different story.
Leonardo was short and petite and very individualistic. He wore his hair however he wanted to, dressed however he felt was, appropriate, and didn't particularly care what other people had to say about his style.
Leonardo's patience and persistence finally paid off when, in 1989, he landed his first professional acting job, a commercial for Matchbox toys.
Ready?
It's mega fast. It's micro small. It's case racers, battery operated. Just open the case and race.
Case closed.
Case racers, batteries not included. Just open the case and race from Matchbox.
During the next year, Leo was cast in several more commercials. He promoted everything from bubblegum to boys' clothing.
No way. Hi, wanna dance? Sure.
And while talent played a major role in his success, Leonardo also benefited from his youthful and clean-cut appearance.
Leo looked extremely young for his age. It's a huge advantage, basically, because you can play so much younger. You know, they prefer to hire somebody who is 14 looking 11 because they get more hours when it comes to the actual work hours allowed.
Even today, Leonardo DiCaprio has a very boyish quality on screen. And so you can imagine how at the beginning of his career, how youthful he was, which probably made his talent seem all the more almost frightening to those people around him. I mean, here was this kid who seemed to be really in control of adult emotions.
The handsome young actor was soon cast in several educational films. Leonardo then quickly moved on to guest starring roles in The New Lassie, The Outsiders, Roseanne, and Santa Barbara.
Now, you could score a lot of points if you told my father you caught me drinking. Especially if you said you were worried about me.
Let go of my arm.
Aw, poor little orphan Cassie. But now she has a chance for a real family. And she shows how perfect she is. Maybe they'll adopt her, and it'll be just like in the movies.
He played a teenage alcoholic, which is an early example of the kind of roles that he would be drawn to. And it was probably an early chance for him to display the skill that he has for playing those kind of troubled characters that he's so drawn to.
Leonardo's almost total focus on acting and auditioning finally paid off when he landed a starring role on the NBC television series Parenthood. In 1990, Leonardo transferred to John Marshall High School in Los Angeles, but he rarely attended classes. Frequent employment allowed him to receive most of his instruction on the set with the aid of professional tutors.
He realized school and the academic grind wasn't really for him, and in fact, he didn't get a diploma from John Marshall High, but got a graduate equivalency degree, a GED.
Leonardo's next big break came in 1991 when he was cast as a series regular on Growing Pains, a popular TV sitcom starring Alan Thicke, Joanna Kearns, Tracy Gold, and resident teen heartthrob Kirk Cameron.
She likes Ben.
Oh, so she's insane.
Maybe, but I like her. And I think she likes me. I mean, ever since she left, she's all I can think about. And Ben, well, I get the impression he'd like her to disappear.
Yeah, what makes you think that?
Well, he said, I wish she'd disappear.
We knew he was cute right away, and appealing, and had a winning smile, and within hours, everyone took to him. And we started to see what was special about him.
I thought that he brought sort of a sweetness to the show that they didn't really have for a long time. Kirk had gotten married and sort of lost that teen idol appeal, which was something that Leo brought.
Playing the part of Luke Brower, a homeless teenager with a fiercely independent streak, Leo expanded his acting range and soon became an instant hit with audiences across the nation.
Here's the right book. Now I can learn.
No, never mind the book. Why don't you go ahead and explain this bed to me?
I remember that we were extremely excited because it was such a great role as the homeless teenager, and that we thought would be a great role just in general for television because it really hadn't been done on that kind of a level.
Overnight, fan magazines promoted Leo's growing popularity. So much so that by the age of 17, he was a legitimate, though reluctant, teen idol.
He was very modest about his appeal to the young girls. He didn't talk about it, he didn't brag about it. We knew that bags of mail were coming in, asking to know more about Leonardo, but if anything, he was a little shy about it. And we would tease him about it occasionally, and that's one of the few times I found him to be speechless.
But Leo's newfound status as a teen idol could not save Growing Pains, which was in its 7th and final season. And when the series ended, he found himself free to explore yet another challenging arena, motion pictures. Leonardo had spent years in front of television cameras honing his craft, and now felt ready to make the transition into feature films. He'd made only one movie to date, the forgettable sci-fi thriller Critters 3. Commercial projects, Leonardo signed on to play a mentally challenged teen in the black comedy What's Eating Gilbert Grape, opposite Johnny Depp and Juliette Lewis.
Goodbye.
No, it's not goodbye, it's goodnight.
Yeah.
Goodbye. When you're going away, we're not going anywhere, huh?
I know that. Geez, I know that, Gilbert.
See you tomorrow.
We're not going anywhere.
The film centered around a family of misfits in a small Midwestern town, and Leo studied extensively for his role.
Leonardo, when he started to prepare for Gilbert Grape, I remember he started doing research. He went to the library and he talked to psychiatrists, and then he got a video camera and he went to a home where mentally challenged children lived. And he kind of hung out, and I heard that he did this for a week.
DiCaprio's amazing display of natural talent earned him the respect of co-star Johnny Depp.
Johnny was sort of a mentor to him, too, at this point, because he was about 10 years older. But the two of them were very brotherly off the set, and Johnny liked Leonardo to make all these disgusting faces, a la Arnie, who was mentally retarded. So they had bets going on that if he could crack him up, he'd pay Leonardo. So Leonardo made about $500.
DiCaprio's stunning performance earned rave reviews, as well as a Golden Globe nomination, the National Board of Review Award, and the New Generation Award for the second time.
People in Hollywood were absolutely flabbergasted by his performance. Some in the industry thought that that person really did have the disability that he played on screen.
Leonardo wasn't one to let praise go to his head, but he was truly astonished when his peers in the industry nominated him for an Academy Award as the year's Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
We talked to him the morning of when we heard the nominations, and he was stunned. I mean, stunned.
We were all like up at 5:30 in the morning, and you know, when the announcements came, we just were all screaming. We were just overjoyed, because here's, you know, he worked really hard at this role, and being nominated is like winning, you know? It's like if you're in the race, you're a winner.
Although seasoned actor Tommy Lee Jones walked away with the Oscar for his role in The Fugitive, Dicaprio had firmly established himself as a major Hollywood contender. What had been a trickle of prominent movie offers suddenly became a flood.
Leonardo was attracted to the troubled teen character, the boy gone wrong, the disaffected youth, because he'd experienced a lot of that while growing up, and it also gave him a chance to explore the depths of his real interior ability to act.
In 1994, actress Sharon Stone tapped Leo to join her and co-star Gene Hackman for a featured role in an offbeat Western entitled The Quick and the Dead. But the role of a cocky teenaged gunslinger offered little in the way of an acting challenge, and the film's disappointing performance at the box office only served to underscore Leonardo's personal and professional frustration.
The Quick and the Dead was a very commercial movie that Leonardo DiCaprio initially was not that interested in. He plays this young, hotshot gunslinger who is the son of Gene Hackman. Leo really didn't get to do that much in the film, but it showed that he was willing to take a chance.
Now, looking for the same kind of acting challenge he had faced in Gilbert Grape, Leo accepted the leading role of a drug-addicted teenager in The Basketball Diaries. Based on the autobiographical novel by Jim Carroll, the film told the story of a high school athlete who slowly succumbs to heroin addiction.
Mom, you know I'm not gonna do anything with it. I need to go out of town for a little while because I got into some trouble and I need some help with it. Okay, so you gotta give me some money, Mom. Can you hold my hand?
Yeah,
Mom?
hold your hands.
Mom, can you give me some money, please? Mom, can you give me some money, please?
It was a tough, uncompromising portrayal, one which forced Leo to dig deeper than he ever had before.
In the film, Leo played a heroin addict, and of course, that got Hollywood asking him questions, what do you think about drugs? And Leo is very anti-drug, but he played this character with great sympathy. You know, he doesn't judge his characters, and I think that's one of the things that makes his performances so strong.
But if Leo's performance in The Basketball Diaries impressed his critics, his next film seemed designed to shock his fans. As the bisexual poet genius Arthur Rimbaud in Total Eclipse, Leo took on yet another unglamorous acting challenge. Directed by the acclaimed Polish director Agnieszka Holland, the film was both stylish and thought-provoking.
No! Whoa! Don't go! Come back! Don't leave me! Come back! I'm sorry!
It was not a successful film. Critics didn't care for it. It did not make money, but it shows the absolute 180-degree change that he's willing to make in his roles. He will do anything if he thinks the part is challenging and interesting.
Until now, Leonardo DiCaprio was a critic's favorite, but a relative unknown. His gifted performances were being showcased in films that were highly respected, but deliberately uncommercial. Hollywood's most gifted young actor had yet to appear in a major commercial success. But all of that was about to change. In '95, Baz Luhrmann, the innovative Australian director of Strictly Ballroom, had begun wooing Leo to star in his fantastic take on the centuries-old classic Romeo and Juliet. At first, The young actor resisted even considering the role, assuming that he would have to wear tights, spout Shakespearean prose, and speak in an awkward English accent. However, his father, George, suggested he take a second look at the project, and the two of them flew to Australia to meet with the director personally. Working closely with Luhrmann, Leo performed in this rare screen test. It helped convince reluctant studio executives to finance the daring project.
When I first pitched the idea to the studio of a modern dress Shakespeare, this was not something everyone went like, oh, fantastic, what a great idea. You know, this is definite box office here, we gotta do it. It was really like, I don't think so. You know, like, explain that to me again. So I really needed to engage Leonardo in working with me and showing the studio how this idea could work.
Luhrmann ignited Dicaprio's imagination with startling new ideas on how to reinvent the concept.
Leonardo DiCaprio said he would not have been interested in Romeo and Juliet if it had been done in a traditional way. Again, the key was that it was offbeat. The key was that it was different. It was something unusual. It was a risk.
Staying true to Shakespeare's original story, Baz envisioned a modern-day Romeo, surrounded by passionate religious themes, violent gang settings, and cutting-edge music. Impressed by the director's vision and drawn to the possibilities of playing a romantic lead for the first time, Leo signed on. Production began in Mexico City, where Leo started to work with his co-star, Claire Danes.
Well, the first scene we did was the morning after scene, after we just made love, and so there we were shirtless. You know, it was a way to break the ice.
You're always reminded that acting itself there's an alchemy about it that's really hard to describe. And Leonardo, when he's got a great role to act, when he's involved with a team of great actors, he truly is alive and truly happy.
Despite the project's appeal, the filming of Romeo and Juliet proved to be far more challenging than anyone could have expected.
We had to be in Mexico 6 months. And, you know, I mean, it was incredible. You know, it was a kind of apocalypse now style of filmmaking in the sense that we had storms that blew away sets. We had everybody got sick. Leonardo got sick, Claire got sick, the DP got sick, I got sick. We had to shut down for days. And there were, you know, I mean, it is true that our wonderful hair designer, creator was kidnapped, and I think we got him back for $300 US, which I thought was rather a bargain.
It got very intense on set, and Leo knew when to loosen everybody up and make fun of ourselves and not have it be taken too seriously, which is really important.
Despite the many distractions, DiCaprio and Danes didn't allow production problems to interfere with their on-screen chemistry, which was both powerful and explosive. As he had in earlier performances, Leo explored Romeo's darker and more emotional side and brought to the character a depth rarely attempted in previous film versions.
Juliet! Juliet!
In the end, Leo's hard work and risk-taking paid off. DiCaprio had reinvented Romeo as a modern-day rebel with a cause, and when Romeo and Juliet opened on November 1st, 1996, the film soon became a global hit.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene.
Overseas, this was the movie that made him a star to particularly girls around the world. This is the one where he really got noticed. It's a tragic character, so he gets to explore as much angst as he could in any role written in the 1990s. And I think he loved that.
To get junior and senior high school students to watch this film in Shakespearean dialect over and over and over again, I mean, that is saying phenomenal things.
I think after the film Romeo and Juliet, that's when things really started all of a sudden. I mean, he's been around for a long time, since he was a kid, but that's when people really started taking notice to him, as far as the girls and the media.
But becoming a sex symbol had never been Leo's objective. Earlier that same year, he had jumped at the chance to take a supporting role in Marvin's Room, Robert De Niro's screen adaptation of the award-winning play.
Well, he was perfect for it, and it was a better choice than he was a better choice than acting. He was better in it than I would have imagined at the time.
Released after Romeo and Juliet, the film starred Academy Award-winning actresses Meryl Streep and Diane Keaton, and featured Leo in the supporting but pivotal role of Hank, a dysfunctional teenager who comes to terms with his family and with death.
Marvin's Room teamed Leonardo DiCaprio with some of the top actors in film. All of these actors couldn't stop talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. Diane Keaton was in awe of this young actor. Meryl Streep was astonished at his abilities.
The film was a critical and commercial hit at the box office, and Leonardo's touching performance was singled out for recognition. After the monster success of Romeo and Juliet and the critical acclaim of Marvin's Room, adoring fans, eager to shower him with attention, screamed hysterically wherever Leo appeared.
Teen idols usually do not have tremendous longevity. They come and go. I don't think Leo relishes the notion of being a teen idol. I think he wants to be thought of as an actor.
People always want to compare every young hot actor to James Dean. Well, they're not all James Deans. And 20, 40 years from now, they'll all be comparing everyone to Leo.
Leonardo was becoming not only popular, but powerful. He was now getting his pick of the best scripts Hollywood had to offer. But if he was becoming increasingly uncomfortable with the personal demands of his escalating fame, he would be totally unprepared for the truly titanic challenges to come. In 1996, filmmaker James Cameron, best known for directing films like The Terminator and Aliens, began realizing his dream of bringing the epic story of the Titanic to the big screen. But although Leo cheerfully accepted the chance to audition for the role of Jack Dawson, a third-class passenger who falls in love with an aristocratic beauty, he was concerned that the film might be more of a showcase for special effects than for his acting ability.
He was interested, but he was very reluctant to say yes to this movie. He was very reluctant because he was afraid that this was going to be a big, blockbuster commercial movie that wouldn't give the actors very much to do.
At the audition, DiCaprio performed brilliantly, and Cameron was convinced that Leonardo could convey the blend of impetuousness and sensitivity he was looking for. But overcoming DiCaprio's concerns about the part proved no easy task.
James Cameron said that he auditioned Leo for 15 minutes. Leo auditioned him for 3 months. He really just couldn't make up his mind. And finally, James Cameron said, look, you may think that this is not a difficult role. You may think that this is just a nice, typical hero role, but it's not. And that's when he got Leo's attention. And in fact, later, Leo said that this was an extremely difficult part for him to play because it was the closest role he had had to himself.
Co-starring as Leonardo's love interest in the film was British actress Kate Winslet.
Fortunately, Leo had a tremendous ally in his co-star, Kate Winslet. They really hit it off. DiCaprio said that it wasn't a romantic relationship, but it was a great friendship. They seemed to have a good kind of teasing side with each other. They got through their love scene with a lot of laughs, and evidently they both kept each other sane during this process.
It sounds really naff to say this, but we are really like brother and sister. And we've shared so much, I mean, on a personal level. He's got lots of my secrets, and I've got heaps of his, and I'd never tell a soul.
Oh, come on!
Jack, this is where we first met.
During the arduous shooting schedule, Leo and Kate formed a close and supportive bond as they spent months together, often submerged in water and dangled from great heights.
Well, I remember when they would flood the stages, you know, he would be swimming around, and then he would have to get out, and with all of those 1920s clothes, get into a hot tub and sit there and wait for the next shot, and then go back into the cold water, because it was all seawater that was coming in. I mean, it was grueling.
He told me it reached the sort of peak of insanity when they were filming the climax of the movie, when he and Kate and the extras are all clinging to the poop deck as the ship is going down for the last time. And he said that they stood there and watched as these stuntmen were sort of falling down on bungee cords. This entire giant set is moving. And then there are all these camera cranes around them. And he said James Cameron came sort of soaring out of the sky on one of these cranes. And he said that he and Kate just looked at each other and said, how did we get here? How did this happen? What are we doing here?
After 6 grueling months, Titanic completed shooting in March of 1997. And when it was released to movie theaters just 9 months later, it quickly became the most successful film in history, eventually earning nearly $2 billion worldwide. Overnight, Leonardo Dicaprio was catapulted from teen heartthrob to international superstar. But it was a change he greeted with mixed emotions.
It's surreal, and I'm just getting used to it. I mean, I don't have a perfect answer for it, because I don't really know. You know, this is all sort of new to me.
Titanic really sealed the fate of Leonardo DiCaprio in some ways that I think he isn't entirely happy with. Of course, he is thrilled that the movie was so successful. With Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio has given up a large part of his privacy, the privacy that is very important.
I've taken sort of 2 roles that have definitely like jumped up my popularity for whatever reason, so I'm adjusting to it all. I mean, it's cool, but we'll see how it is.
In February of 1998, Titanic garnered a record 14 Academy Award nominations and went on to win an astounding 11 statuettes, including one for the year's Best Picture. But missing from the list of nominees for Best Actor was Leonardo DiCaprio, an omission that many of his fans, as well as critics and members of the Hollywood community, found hard to justify.
For Leo's fans, the most disastrous event of 1998 was his failure to get an Oscar nomination for Titanic. And I don't think that Leonardo DiCaprio is losing sleep over his failure to get an Oscar nomination. He is doing this because he has to. This is what he does. This is what he was put on the planet to do.
I think they should offer him some more serious roles.
Well, I think I'm going to be stereotypical and say that I like Titanic the best.
A lot of people think that he's good-looking. Girls like him a lot because he's really cute, you know.
All the girls are crazy about him.
I'd like to see him continue.
My sister is upset.
And he's a good actor.
Everybody, like, in my school have posters of him everywhere.
He's like the boy next door. You can almost relate to him.
Everyone in my school is a Leonardo DiCaprio fan except the boys.
From London and Paris to Tokyo and Tahiti, Leonardo now found himself hounded and mobbed wherever he went. He was being offered staggering sums to appear in a motion picture, and it looked as if nothing could outshine him. Nothing film, The Man. Leonardo appeared in the difficult dual role of the haughty French king Louis XIV and his imprisoned twin brother, Philippe.
The Man in the Iron Mask came out while Titanic was still riding very high at the box office, and really the only thing that could come close to unseating Leonardo DiCaprio was another Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
It was around this same time that Leonardo moved out of his mother's house and into a new home of his own. Still, the 23-year-old remained extremely close to both parents and continued to seek their advice, both personally and professionally.
I'd say between his family and his group of friends, which are like his family, that's going to keep him grounded.
We were on a platform, and the platform was shaking as if it was going to collapse. You know, it was like, and not just kids. I mean, there were like old men and old women asking him questions like he was the Messiah. You know, like, you know, please feed me, and like hands are reaching through. You know, like sort of trying to touch, you know, the cloth of the hem of his sort of garment. You know, like it might cure them.
Even observing as a friend of his, it's mind-boggling to me. I mean, I am overwhelmed with what he has to go through. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's, you know, constantly approached by nearly everybody. It doesn't matter what age or who you are. It seems that everybody has something to say or wants a photo or an autograph. And he deals with it. I mean, he really handles it well.
Well, I asked Leonardo the other day, what do you think about all of this Leo mania? He says he's staying very close to his homeboys, and he's staying close to his family. And I think that's important, because you can lose it. You know, you can really think that you're king of the world.
Concerned about the risks of media overexposure, Leonardo took a break from filming. He turned down numerous offers, except for a brief cameo role in Celebrity, written and directed by Woody Allen. In June of 1998, he signed on to star in the film The Beach, portraying a wandering traveler who is given a map to paradise. As for his personal life, Leonardo has yet to find the girl of his dreams, although he has been seen in public with numerous beautiful women.
The only relationship that Leonardo DiCaprio really likes to go on the record about is the fact that he does have a housemate, a pet iguana.
But as the public's ongoing infatuation with all things Leo shows no signs of slowing down, the talented young actor seems determined to keep his head on straight and take the adulation in stride.
I'd always dreamed that I'd, you know, be an actor and be doing well. I mean, I always had fantasies about that, for sure, yeah.
As a young man, he's a good friend who I'm blessed to have a friendship with. I adore him and his family, and just a kind person who means well and just treats people with a lot of respect.
I think we've only seen the tip of Leonardo's personal iceberg, and you'll be delighted to see what he can do in the years to come. You haven't seen how funny he can be yet.
Don't worry, I only sleep in class.
Audiences are in for a treat.
He certainly stands for the epitome of what a star is right now, as far as entertainers go. He's the cream of the crop. He is Elvis or the Beatles. He's got that phenomenon going on right now.
He's in a great position because of the success, and it's good because he is a terrific actor and smart. Like I said, he's in a position to do it all, so that's great.
I think because he is so truly talented, we will joy in actually watching him grow as an actor. And that's the thing about Leonardo, is that he has an endless capacity to grow as an actor.
In less than 3 decades, Leonardo DiCaprio has become a highly respected actor, acclaimed by critics and adored by audiences around the world.
Mom?
And although no one can be sure what the future holds for this talented young man, it's certain that his choices will remain intelligent, at times surprising, and of course, always challenging.
I'm the king of the